person who defrauded you lives there, or to tell us about a crime that happened in Scotland, you'll need to hang up and dial 101. They'll put you through to your local police force who can help. Our current wait times are more than 10 minutes due to high volume of calls. If you would prefer to make a report online, you can do so at www.actionfraud.police.uk and click on Report to get started. If you are a business, charity or organisation, press 1.
So
if you are calling from a UK police force, press 2.
On the 6th of October.
If you believe you or someone you know is a victim of fraud and cybercrime, please press 3. If you want to listen to the message again, please press 8. To make a new report, please press 1. For an update on an existing report, please press 2. Our current wait times are more than 10 minutes as soon as we can.
23 and a half minutes at the moment. 30 minutes, 7 seconds, 8 seconds. Hi Amy, it's Andrew here.
I'm trying to take your surname, please.
I don't have a surname, but if you want to know my legal embodiment, it's not mine, is it? That's got a Crown copyright on it. So I'm Baron Andrew of the House of Divine.
And just a contact number in case the line drops at all.
The contact number is 07495 409 168.
Trying to ask, is there any connection to Scotland at all?
No.
No? And have you ever contacted Action Fraud before?
Quite possibly. Another time's been when I've also reported crimes before, but it was a long time ago. So I can't actually say yes or no on that one. Certainly not, if not myself.
No.
It was colleagues, they definitely have, yeah. But basically, I mean, risks, what I'm actually after is, because obviously, again, you see, I'm part helping and aiding and assisting ladies that, certain ladies right now, particular one that's, because she went yesterday to report the crime to the police, and they've said that it's fraud. Now, definition of fraud, getting off from what the policeman, I don't personally think it is, but I think it's a crime. It is a crime in itself. You know, if, for instance, let's say if I was to, as you may or may not be aware, but the court buildings themselves actually hire the courtrooms out. So if I was to hire that courtroom out, and I was to get some actors in there to pretend to be judges and so on and so forth, and I was to create some documents that looked official court documents and to post those out to people and bring them into this room, and by bringing them into that room, fooling them into thinking that it was a real court, and stealing, you know, whatever I wanted to steal from them by creating these counterfeit warrants and counterfeit orders in a counterfeit court, yeah, in a phantom court, then I would consider that as a crime. But unfortunately, the police are not aware that the severity of what actually I've just explained to you. So they can't see it. You have to be able to perceive something to be able to understand what's actually going on. So I've got the lady, and I've showed the lady exactly how to do it by requesting the case management file, so that there's actually a public record of an actual case that's gone on with inside the actual building for it to be a court, you know. And the court has in turn very kindly produced the material evidence in written form documentation to state that there is no record. There is no record on the case management system of the court system. Therefore, the paperwork that she has got is just like what I've just told you. Somebody has hired the court building, and they have made out that it's a court, and they're bringing these people in and they're taking their money off them. So on that note, on that point, how is it that we are to report these crimes? because that is a crime in itself, because you cannot counterfeit the court's order, even if it be the council that's doing it. So if the council is hiring the court building and they are counterfeiting the court's authority by pretending to be the court when they're not really the court, because they are the council, they can't be the court and the council, and they are taking money off people through impersonation. So how is it that we get that crime reported?
And the police wouldn't report it for you at all?
The police just will not. They will not, because they'll just say it's fraud. They, you know, when you explain, they wouldn't allow you to explain it, because that's fraud. They'll just shut you down every time. They wouldn't, you know, they won't bring you I mean, the lady in particular, because you know, she took down there, she took somebody with her. She went to report it to the police station. And when she went in there to report to the police station, she said she wanted to report a fraud. And he said, well, it's nothing to do with us, then you've got to go to fraud action. So, well, it says, well, and then I want to report a crime, you know, then I want to report a crime. And it's like, well, you said fraud, and that's it, just wouldn't have it. I said, well, can I see a constable? Can I see a constable, please? And he said, like, no. He said, well, I need to see a constable. You're not the, because he said, I'm just a customer. You're not. He wasn't even on his oath. You know, and I said, well, you're not the judge and jury. You know, I'm just in my head now. How's he being judge and jury over what's a crime, what's fraud, what's anything? And this lady's been asking for a constable, and he refused to give it, and he just shut it down by giving this action fraud. So I thought, I'm going to give you a ring, because I know she'll be calling you tomorrow. She's busy at the moment. She'll be calling you tomorrow, and she'll be reporting exactly what's done. And we've got the evidence. We've got the documents that's saying it's a court document. It's from the court, saying it's from the court. We've got the confirmation from the court that there's no record of anything. We've got a bailiff letter now also saying that they've got a liability order issued by the court. Yeah, all of these things. We've got the whole. We've done the case for you. It's an open and shut case. There's nothing else. The confession, everything's all within the documentation. And this is Eastleigh Borough Council that is hiding behind the cloak, hiding behind the cloak of Eastleigh Borough Council. They're not showing who it is inside this corporation that's doing this. And they are basically, I mean, and as far as I'm concerned, I mean, knowing the law itself, I mean, they have pierced the veil. They can't hide behind the veil anymore because they've committed a crime. So the corporate veil is now null and void. They can't hide behind that Eastleigh Borough Council anymore. I need to know who it is inside that Eastleigh Borough Council that is hiring the court, should I say, hiring judges. And I take it, it's going to be judges. It's going to be judges from within inside the court that are acting in the private on a foreigner. They're working in the black. They're working in the black because there's no record of it. They're charging filing fees of records which have never been filed. So this is humongous. The amount of the tax evasion and everything else. There's so many crimes here that it's just beyond most people's comprehension to even accept or go into it. And when you go into this scenario, now you know that this is, you know, well, I'm saying no, because I mean, I can't say I can't accuse anything, but it would be logical to detect that to think that this is the Freemasons that are working within the secret societies and within the cliques that they've got, because this isn't the first case. There's many cases of this that I've got in, and basically we call it the pyramid of terror. And the pyramid of terror, we call it, is the police at the top, and you've got the courts on one, and you've got the council on the other. And these three work in unison because the police are the enforcement. So somebody's got to enforce these counterfeit warrants and these counterfeit court orders. The courts are being used, and they're inside that court, and they're covering up for the council by saying, you know, I mean, you do have it from the court saying, you know, and we've got it in writing and from the court, from a court manager, and we've also got it in verbal from a recording from an assistant, a court's assistant, when she was explaining it to us, and she explained it very clearly. It's nothing to do with us. That's to do with the council. Go to the council because they hire the building. They've got their own judges. And it's like, what? Do you know what you just said? The council cannot have their own judges. That's, as you know, that's just like what I've just told you. This is a kangaroo court. This is a phantom court that's being created to steal people's money through deception. And this is the issue that we've got. So this is my main point, because it's so big and this has been going on for so long, and there are so many cases. When people ask for their caseman file, I mean, in the civil, you ask for the caseman file 1, 2, and 3, which is going to show you everything, inclusive of the proof of service of the proceedings that's been issued by the court, which never have been done because the court has never issued the proceedings. Somebody else has been doing it. Yeah, you've got the filing fee that they're charging you. At the end of these court cases, they're charging you the court costs, which are the filing fees and everything. Yet there's no record, there's no receipt or nothing of them. Yeah, so this is massive, and this is not just one. This is across the globe. In fact, I would say in the last 4 months, I've done, I'd say around about 20 cases where we've gone in to check the files, and all have come back negative. There is no record of a file. So this has been going on for a long time. It's been going on for a long time. Yeah. So the courts are operating in the private, and these are the perks of the job. Everyone, there's a perk of any job. You can work in the black in any job. Yeah, and these are the perks of their job, and they're going beyond their public oath. They're going beyond the Nolan principles. They are most certainly not being honest. They most certainly have got no integrity, and they are most certainly not being selfless. This is for all profitable gains. And there is no record, obviously, of where all this money's gone. So we're talking probably across the gland, how much money goes through all the courts of the UK, if there's no record of it. We're talking certainly billions, trillions, I would say. And this money is going nowhere to the public purse. So as a man of my country and supporting my country, I must let my country know that there is a serious enemy within inside our country that are operating in the black, and this is how they're doing it. And I can prove what I've just said 100%, and I can vouch that under the penalty of perjury, because I have the evidence, I have the documentation to prove it. From them themselves, from the courts themselves, who have stipulated that there is no record. So if there is no public record, then there's nothing in the case. And if there was nothing in the case, then there was never a case to answer. Because you can only speak of what's on the case, what's in the file. Yeah. So my line of where I've come to now with you is, what I'm asking you is, where on what I've just explained to you, and I can, like I say, I can produce the material evidence to substantiate what I say. Where do I seek remedy for the wrongs that I've just mentioned to you?
I would personally seek some sort of legal advice to start with, because obviously you've got all the evidence, obviously, to prove this. I'm just looking what I've got here. I've got one that's called Civil Legal Advice, and they are for obviously anyone that wants to sort of take any legal action or any advice on taking legal action. I have would this be a lawyer's firm? Yeah, some member of the Bar Association. It just says Civil Legal Advice.
So if it's legal advice,
anyone else who wants any legal advice.
Yeah, so if it's legal advice, then it's going to be a member of the Bar Association, because they've got to be a member of the bar to provide that legal advice. Yeah. Well, the Bar Association itself is a private organisation, and they all swear on an oath that no fact will ever be heard or tried in a court of law. So that's a pretty pointless expedition, really, because the Bar Association can only represent the legal fiction, which is your legal embodiment, which was created to you at birth, which is your birth certificate name. So they can't speak for you as a man, and they're not going to speak for you, man, because they've sworn on that oath. So they're never going to get that. This is the reason for why you can never get justice in the court, because the Bar Association itself, you have to go through the bar to get in the court. And if you represent yourself, they'll just ignore you anyway, because they can never release. You can't serve two masters. You can't have a public oath and you can't have a private oath, because their private oath superiors their public oath. They should recuse themselves, but they will not recuse themselves because they're covering up for the privates, for those in the privateers that are fleecing the country. So how do we as people, as men and women, how are we going to stop these people, that are doing this to our fellow brothers and sisters? Okay, they're not awake and they're not aware, they haven't realized that they're being tricked and deceived through the birth certificate, because it's the birth certificate that's being brought to the court. That's why they always send the summonses out to the all capitals. The all capitals names is the birth certificate, is the legal embodiment, and that is what they're trying to track and trip. And they catch people by creating joinder, by them answering to it, rather than just saying like, excuse me, that isn't me. Hence why I said I haven't got a surname, by the way. I have a clan name.
Okay.
I mean, you're saying, I mean, with what you was just saying to me, from what I took of it, you was like asking me to go to a solicitor. I don't see why I would go to a solicitor to report a crime. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to the police to report the crime. If I wanted to get to a solicitor, he would there to help me to expose what the crime is and put it in the legal format so that they have to hear it. But don't need that. I'm reporting a crime and it's to the police I'm reporting it to. So it's the police that now have to take that. So, I mean,
the reason I said to solicitor was because you said you had that evidence, and I thought if you wanted obviously to give, show them so they've got more of a case to build behind it. That's why I suggested.
I will forward you on the evidence of the crime. I will forward you on the evidence that stipulates it complete in a nutshell. You can't deny it. It's undeniable. It's irrefutable. It's it's done. The evidence is there. The confession is there. The crime is completely outlined and encompassed within the whole thing. It's done and dusted. But I just need somebody who's going to do it. So in this action fraud that I'm calling now, which the police, because the police won't, the general Bobby on the street, that we're talking, when you go to the police station, it's beyond them, they say. That's what they say, it's beyond us. So if it's going to be beyond them, they send me to you. So if it's going to be beyond you, who do you send? Who do I now go through from you? Or do you pass me on?
What we would normally do, we'd normally take a report of a fraud that happened, and then we send that to the National Fraud Intelligence Bureau, who obviously looks into the report that we send to them.
Do you have a contact to them? I mean, because I don't need. I mean, why? Let me go straight to the top. I want to go to the top because I can back everything what I'm saying, and I can produce the material evidence. Like I say, I'm not making any claims that I can't produce the material evidence to substantiate it. So, I need to speak to someone that can have that claims to have the authority that's going to actually do something for the people. I want to speak, because the first things first, they've got to be on their oath, and they've got to be there for the people, not for the persons. I'm not interested in the corporate. I want to know who's there that can enforce law, not legal, law. Who can actually enforce the law? The law is, there's a crime, and a crime has been committed. We have the actual full evidence and confession of a crime, because that is a crime. Is it not, or is it not a crime, that if someone's counterfeiting the court's authority? I mean, can I do it? Would I get done if I, because I could go and hire the room in the court, and I could get some guys up, dressed up, I mean, I might not be able to hire the judges, you know, in that courtroom, but I can certainly hire some actors, because that's no different. And I could get them sitting there and pretending to be a judge, and I can make out the same documents that they're doing quite easily. And I could send these documents out, and I could go and steal people's houses off them, quite the same, just exactly the same, and steal people's money off them. I might not be able to lock on these things and be able to get it out of their bank accounts, because, you know, I would need their insiders, wouldn't I? But because I can't do that, I can still get a group of guys dressed up like bailiffs and go around and take the stuff off them, couldn't I? Because if they never questioned it, it would be no difference. But that, I believe, would be an absolute crime, and I should, you know, that's just something that I would never do, because I know it's wrong. And therefore, I know what they're doing is wrong. And I know a man requires a remedy, and the law states, and the maximum law states, that if there's a wrong, then a remedy has to be provided. And that's what that's what you're here to do under your oath, to provide that remedy.
I have got a contact number for them.
Yeah.
And they're available apparently 24/7, so obviously you'll be able to speak to them after I've given you the number.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Have you got a pen and paper to hand? And I'll give that to you now.
I'm ready and waiting. Thank you.
So it's 03.
Yeah.
70.
Yeah.
496.
Yeah.
76.
Yeah.
22.
So that's 0370 496 7622. Excellent. And who are they? Who are?
They're the National Fraud Intelligence Bureau.
National Fraud Intelligence Bureau. Thank you very much. You've been very helpful. Thank you very much, Darren. So, I mean,
no problem at all. Thank you, people.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Have yourself a beautiful evening. God bless.
No problem.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Andy, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.